Have you ever stood right at the edge of the ocean, looked out at that endless horizon, and just realized you're staring at a completely alien world? I mean, the surface might look totally calm, but right beneath those rolling waves lies a vast, pitch black, and honestly, terrifyingly unexplored frontier. Seriously, we know more about the surface of the moon than we do about the deepest trenches of our own planet. So today, we are going to embark on an intense kind of journey. We're peeling back the layers of the deep blue to examine some of the most disturbing, totally unexplained events that have ever occurred in the ocean's depths.
All right, let's dive into this literal descent. We're going to travel from the sunlit surface all the way down to the crushing, absolute darkness of the abyss. And along the way, we are going to look at mysteries that completely, entirely defy our modern scientific understanding. We're going to map out exactly where human knowledge ends and true oceanic terror begins.
Part 1. Vanishing at the surface, when ships and planes disappear.
Now, you'd probably think that with our modern tracking, radar, and satellite imaging, a massive vessel couldn't just vanish, right? But the ocean, well, it doesn't play by our rules. Take the chilling case of the MV Joyita. This was a merchant vessel operating out in the South Pacific back in 1955. It was built to be practically unsinkable, yet its story is still one of the most unsettling maritime mysteries of the whole 20th century.
So 5 weeks after it set sail, the Joyita was found adrift. It was heavily listing to one side and partially submerged. But here is where it turns into an absolute thriller. All 25 passengers and crew members were simply gone, just vanished. The radio was tuned to the International Marine Distress Channel, blood-stained bandages were found right there on the deck, and the wildest part? The ship was still perfectly buoyant, meaning whatever happened to force 25 people to abandon an unsinkable ship in the middle of nowhere was sudden, it was violent, and it is entirely unexplained. To this exact day, not a single body has ever been recovered. But the surface isn't just threatened from below. Sometimes, the danger actually comes from above. Take the 1978 Bass Strait disappearance, involving a pilot named Frederick Valentich. Valentich was flying his light aircraft over the strait when he radioed air traffic control. He was reporting this bizarre, glowing object just hovering right above his plane. His final, desperate radio transmission is chillingly etched into history. His exact words were, "It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft." Right after that, there was this harsh, metallic scraping sound, and then his transmission just cut out, dead air. Despite a massive oceanic search, neither Valentich nor his plane were ever seen again. Did something pull him beneath the waves? What truly happened out there?
Part 2. Encounters with the unexplained, aerial anomalies meeting the water.
Let's start this off with the 1967 Shag Harbor crash up in Nova Scotia. Now, listen, this wasn't some fringe UFO sighting. This was a heavily documented incident. We're talking multiple credible witnesses, police officers, and the military, all watching an unknown object fall directly out of the sky and plunge right into the freezing Atlantic waters.
Let's look at how this actually played out. At minute 0, observers spotted 4 glowing orange lights in a really rapid descent. By the 15-minute mark, witnesses heard a massive whistle, followed by a huge splash as the object slammed into the water, leaving this bizarre glowing yellow foam right on the surface. Then, by minute 30, rescue boats are rushing out. They're fully expecting to find a crashed commercial airliner, right? But the object simply sank beneath the waves. The military swept the seafloor for days afterward. They found absolutely nothing. It didn't crash, it submerged.
And that brings us seamlessly to an even more highly documented and frankly, chilling event. The 2004 Nimitz encounter. This one is verified by the Pentagon and was actually captured on advanced military targeting cameras.
Just think about the literal, impossible physics recorded here. At 0 minutes, Navy cruisers pick up anomalous objects dropping from 80,000 feet down to sea level in a matter of seconds. 10 minutes in, Commander David Fravor makes visual contact with a smooth, white, tic-tac-shaped craft. No wings, no exhaust. But the most disturbing detail, the ocean water directly beneath this hovering object was violently churning and frothing. It was acting as if something much, much larger was interacting with it from right under the surface. And then, in a blink, the object accelerated away at speeds that completely shatter our laws of physics.
Part 3. Secrets of the seafloor, structures and swarms.
As we descend deep into the dark waters of the seafloor, we're talking hundreds of feet down now, natural geological logic just begins to break down entirely.
Discovered in 2011 by a deep-sea diving team using sonar, the Baltic Sea anomaly is this massive, completely unexplained object resting heavily right on the seabed.
Normally, scientists expect to find standard, predictable geological formations on the seabed, but instead, they found a 200-foot unnatural structure that looks startlingly like the Millennium Falcon. It's resting at the very end of a 1,000-foot skid mark, looking for all the world like it crash-landed and just slid across the bottom of the ocean. And even more disturbing? Diving teams report that their electrical equipment and satellite phones mysteriously just shut down completely whenever they get within 650 feet of the anomaly, and then they miraculously turn right back on when they move away.
From unexplained objects, we need to shift our focus to the Gulf of Combat anomaly off the coast of India. This is a massive underwater mystery that is actively challenging our entire baseline understanding of human civilization.
When they did sonar scans in the Gulf of Combat, they didn't see a normal, barren seabed. The scans revealed a massive, completely submerged city stretching for 5 straight miles. They've actually pulled up geometric structures, pottery, and human remains. But here is the terrifying part for historians. Carbon dating places these artifacts at over 9,000 years old. That predates the earliest known human civilizations by thousands of years. The ocean basically swallowed an entire advanced civilization long before history says they should have even existed.
Okay, now we're pivoting from sunken ancient structures to a terrifying living biological anomaly. Enter the chaotic red devil's swarm, specifically the humbled squid.
The reality of these creatures is just pure horror movie material. These are not your typical harmless squids. They grow up to 6 feet long. They hunt in massive, highly organized swarms of up to 1,200 individuals. They can rapidly change their skin color, flashing this menacing red when they get aggressive. Oh, and they possess a razor-sharp beak that can literally bite straight through bone. Divers who have encountered them in the deep report this terrifying swarm intelligence. The squid will grab a diver's equipment, pull them down into the darkness, and coordinate attacks from all sides. It's a chaotic, entirely overwhelming underwater nightmare.
Prepare to descend even further now, because we're moving into a deeply unsettling auditory mystery, the 2016 Arctic ping. We are heading to an area of the ocean so remote and so icy that human presence is practically zero. Yet, something down there was definitely making itself known.
During the summer of 2016, this strange, continuous pinging sound began echoing from the seafloor of the Fury and Hecla Strait in Canada. This acoustic anomaly was so loud and so intense that it drove all the marine wildlife, we're talking whales, seals, everything, completely out of the area. The Canadian military sent aircraft and submarines down there to investigate, sweeping the whole region. They confirmed the sound, yeah, but officially concluded there were no submarines or man-made equipment causing it. So, what was the 2016 Arctic ping? Was it a massive natural acoustic weapon or something else entirely, operating just out of our sight?
Part 4. Terrors of the Deep, the Crushing Abyss.
We are now miles beneath the surface. It's a place of eternal darkness where the water pressure is so unimaginable it would instantly crush a human being like an empty tin can. To really ground us in this extreme physical reality, we have to look at the Trieste. In 1960, this deep-sea bathyscaphe made a record-breaking descent into the Challenger Deep. That's the deepest known point of the seabed, almost 7 miles straight down. As the two-man crew descended into the absolute crushing silence, at 30,000 feet deep, a massive crack echoed through the tiny cabin. Under the sheer, unfathomable pressure of the ocean, one of the Trieste's outer plexiglass window panes had fractured. They were entirely at the mercy of the abyss, knowing full well that if the inner window gave way, they would be obliterated in milliseconds. They survived, but man, the ocean gave them a violent reminder of exactly who was in charge.
And that brings us to our final and maybe most profound mystery, one lurking in the abyssal depths during a U.S. Navy training exercise in 1963, right above the Puerto Rico Trench.
During this exercise, a U.S. Navy sonar operator tracked a submerged object that just defied all logic. It was traveling at an impossible speed of 150 knots underwater, but more terrifying than its speed was its depth. The sonar tracked this massive object diving down to 27,000 feet into the trench. Now, to put that into perspective, at that depth, the pressure destroys our most advanced modern military submarines, yet this object navigating the crushing abyss with ease for 4 continuous days before disappearing completely. Which leaves us with one final spine-tingling thought as we conclude our dive today. Considering the vast, unexplored, high-pressure void right beneath our feet, are we truly alone in the deep? Or is there an entirely different intelligence hiding right now in the crushing darkness? Think about that the next time you look out at the water. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next deep dive.